Okay, let's dive into Roach's training so we can stay consistent at home. We are going to reward the behaviors we want to continue to see from Roach, and we are going to use our training equipment and tools to decrease the rate of behavior by following through and using this equipment as needed. So let's dive into his prong collar. So this is going to be what we attach the leash to. We're going to attach the leash to the D-ring. Now when we use this collar, we're going to use it in a pop and release fashion, not a pull fashion. How to put this on and take it off of Roach. We have to take it apart at the links. So we pick a link and then we're going to slide this one down and it comes apart. Then we're going to put this on Roach, and to put it together we squeeze these two. Now once it's on Roach, how we're going to use this is we're going to help remind him of what he should be doing. So for example, let's go over the loose leash walking command, heel. Heel means walk next to us on a loose leash. So if Roach makes the choice to walk ahead or not walk next to us, we're going to tell him no, pop the leash, and then remind him to heel. This is to help him understand that the rules are with us at home too, not just here at the training facility. So no, pop and release, remind him, heel. Now let's say he is walking next to us and he's doing a really good job. We're going to reward that with praise, petting, and treats, and letting him know that he is doing a good job, and we want to reinforce that behavior. So let's dive into his remote collar. So how to turn this on. The collar itself has a red dot and the remote has a matching red dot. This is a magnetic key to turn the collar on. We're going to touch the two together and you're going to see a green light flash. That means the collar's on, charged, and ready to go. On-off button in the back, we're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up, and then you can see the screen is on, and we're going to focus on the black S button. So same idea. When we need to use these training equipment or tools to get Roach's attention or to tell him, hey, that wasn't appropriate, we're going to let him know that it's coming from us. So we're going to mark the incorrect behavior with a verbal no. So we're letting him know that that behavior right there was not appropriate, not what we're asking. No. Here's the follow through, black S button. And then we give him the command that he should do instead. So, no, command. So for example, loose leash walking, he starts to walk ahead. We're going to tell him no, follow through, heel. So no, follow through, heel. And you can see that it makes my thumb twitch just a little bit. It's because it's an electric muscle stimulator. It's basically a TENS unit in collar form. This is how we're going to make sure that Roach understands that the boundaries happen at home too, and what we say we are going to follow through, and that's what we expect from him. So let's go over the rest of the commands for him. So we already know heel means walk next to us on a loose leash. I recommend that he walks next to you about 80% of his walk. The other 20% you can tell him free. Free is the release term if you don't have to be in a specific command. Sorry about that. So he is free to sniff and walk around. So that way he gets that sniffing enrichment. So we balance it out where it's structure, freedom, structure, freedom. And free is the universal command of you're not in a set command anymore. You are free to sniff around and just do what you choose to do. Then we have sit. Sit means stay is implied until he is told that free or heel command. So let's say, for example, door manners. We're going to have him sit at the doors. That way he doesn't just bolt out. Create that nice structure and have him wait for us to tell him free that he can go through that threshold. So we have him sit. Now you can always give him verbal reminders. We don't have to say stay, stay, stay. But what you can do is tell him sit. As you open the door, remind him to sit by just repeating the command again, and then you can tell him free to go through the threshold. Then we have down. Down means lay down and stay until he is told free. Now, the big difference between down and place is we never free from a distance. We always go back to him, tell him good down, good place, and then we free. We want to make sure that stay stays really strong, so we don't want to call him to us. We're going to practice come when called separately. We always go back to him in the stay and then tell him free to keep that stay nice and strong and let him know that we're going to come to you. You don't need to come to us. So down means lay down and stay. Now, if he doesn't go into the command when you ask, we're going to follow through with these training tools because we want him to listen the first time we ask, not the 10th time we ask. So if we tell him down and he's like, no, thanks. No, follow through with the training equipment, remind him to lay down. Same thing if he gets up from the stay before you tell him free. No, follow through, remind him of the command. So then when you're leaving him, you can give him that verbal reminder down so he understands to stay in the down versus getting up. And down is implied, the stay is implied until you tell him free. So then we go back to him and tell him free. Of course, when we reward low, so he is rewarded in the down position, not for getting up. So always reward low for that. Then we have place. Place is a boundary stay on a specific bed or elevated bed. As long as all 4 feet are on the bed, he's on place. Now we encourage him to lay down by rewarding it, but he is not required to be in the down position. So when he's on place, we want to reward putting the treat on the bed so he knows that the bed is the positive zone. Give reminders as distractions are happening, like for example in the home, or when we're reintroducing him around the other dog. We have him on place and we slowly work the other dog around him. That way they're having a positive association of being around each other and he's in a nice structured zone. Whenever you're practicing, make sure to have a leash on him, of course. And then when we're ready for him to get off of the bed, we go back to him and tell him free. And this is a great command to use for when people come over. That way he's not getting overly excited or jumping or greeting them too excitedly. Then we have come when called. So we are going to have Roach in a free command. So he is free to sniff and explore. Then we're going to call him to us, Roach, come. As he runs to us, good boy, we're going to reward the action of him running to us, have him sit, then we reward, and then we can tell him free. So we're not putting him in a sit because most of the time when we need Roach to come to us, he's not just sitting there waiting for our next command. He's off exploring and sniffing and being distracted. So we're going to practice that. Always have a leash on him, especially if you're not in a fenced-in area. That way, if you follow through with this and he's still a little confused, we can reel him in with the leash. So then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that. So when you drop something on the ground, have him leave it. If he goes for it, leave it. So we're going to follow through again with the tools. Always practice with dog safe foods to begin with, and then I would just recommend not letting him get any food off of the floor. That way you don't have that risk of him eating something that he shouldn't, especially if he's like outside around the other dog and there's that bone that we had a little scuffle over. You can tell Roach to leave it so he backs away from that item so there's no conflict there. So those are his commands. When you're doing these commands, again, reward the behaviors you want to continue to see. That will increase the rate of those behaviors. Use these tools to follow through to decrease the rate of unwanted behaviors. Have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Roach's command. Down. Good boy. Down. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Free. Good boy. Leave it. Good. Free. Okay. Let's go over the other features of Roach's remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on. Let's go over how to turn the collar off. So we're going to touch the magnetic key. You're going to see a red light. That means now the collar is off. So we're going to turn that back on real quick. The on-off button in the back of the remote. Push and hold. And that will turn the remote off. So we're going to turn it back on. So we focused on the black S button. The red S button will be the emergency button. This is going to add 25 to whatever level is on the screen. So when would we need this? Let's say Roach gets out of the yard and he is running towards the road. Roach, come, and he's not listening because his adrenaline is elevated and level 25 only reaches him to right here. We have that boost feature to snap him back to reality and get his attention again. We have not needed this for Roach, but you have it as a safety net just in case you do need it. So that is the red S button. Just be careful. Do not push that unless you absolutely need it. The T button over here is vibrate. So that's a good thing to use to make sure when you turn this collar on before you put it on Roach. We push vibrate a few times to make sure that we actually turn the collar on before putting it on him. You can also use this a few months down the line as a warning, but I would stick with the black S button so he learns to respect the commands at home when you give him that command to do. He knows I have to listen to it or there will be a consequence, because he's going to make choices throughout training, and we want him to understand that, hey, if you make the right choice, we're going to reward you, but if you decide to ignore me, there are consequences for that. So then we have the M/C button. You don't have to worry about that. That stands for momentary or continuous. In the beginning, we would have him at a lower level and apply the stimulation and then ask him to do a command and he would get a reward for it. So it was a positive association with the remote collar. Now he has the option to not feel the collar anymore as long as he listens to the command and does basically what we're asking of him. Then we have the on-off button. It's also a light button. So if we tap that, instead of pushing and holding it, if we tap it, we will actually activate a flashlight so we can see him better at night. So one tap, it'll flash. Another tap, it's a solid flashlight. And then tap it again to turn it off. Then we have the dial here. This is going to change the intensity of the level. So right now it is locked because the 1D up here is solid. If we push down and hold that, now the 1D is flashing. We can adjust the level as needed. So right now 25 works for Roach. This level can change over time through maturity and just practice doing the commands. It takes a dog about 4 to 6 months or 500 repetitions to really be proficient at a command. So he is going to need to practice to make sure he understands that the training happens at home, not just here at the facility. So his level could change as he matures, as he grows. He might not need 25. You can bump it down to 20 or 15. If 25 isn't getting the results that you're wanting, if he's able to blow it off and ignore you, we need to bump it up to 30 or 35. It just depends, but I like to try and increase by levels of 5. So once we have it at the level we want, we push down and hold it. That way we don't accidentally turn it up when he is wearing, like when this is on a lanyard and we're wearing it around our neck. So it is rechargeable. Charging ports right here. This is waterproof, so we want to make sure that charging thing, that covers it. That way dirt, debris, and water don't get in and mess with the electronics of the charger. It'll last about 2 days on a charge as long as you're turning it off at night. He can wear this 12 to 14 hours a day and it is waterproof, but let's say he goes swimming. You want to make sure to take this collar off. That way the area can dry thoroughly so he doesn't get like moisture, which will build up bacteria. Also, the little receiver, I would recommend every couple of days just putting it on a different side. That way these contact points don't put too much pressure on one area, but he should be fine with it. This does have to fit snug, only allowing 1 to 2 fingers so that the contact points make good connection to his skin, and so it doesn't rub on his neck. If it rubs, it's going to create irritation, and we don't want that. So then in here in his box, we have the charger, which is going to charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. Roach does not have long hair, so we don't have to worry about these little extenders, but you have them in case you need them. And this little tool in here is what would change them. But again, he doesn't have long hair, so we don't really have to worry about that. The instruction manual that goes over all the buttons in greater detail and all the functions, but we pretty much covered everything that you need to know about the collar. And then this does have a 2-year full warranty. So if anything happens to the model in the next 2 years, contact the company and they can send you a replacement. All right. So those are the rest of the features of the remote collar. Again, you want to have fun and stay consistent, but reward the behaviors you want to continue to see. Use these tools to address the behaviors that you don't want to continue to see. Have fun, stay consistent, and let us know if you have any questions.